Melissa,
Uh-huh.
what is your holy grail of DVD, Blu-ray box sets that you still don't have yet?
Ooh, this is a good question. I've been on a home media kick lately.
Ooh, okay.
I found these YouTube channels where it's guys just showing you their entire collections and giving you buying tips and talking about this 4K release versus this other 4K release.
Sure, yeah.
My Marvel collection is weirdly spotty. I own the first Guardians and not the second Guardians, and I don't know how that happened. I own Age of Ultron, and I don't own the first Avengers or
I gotcha.
Infinity War.
I don't have all of the Avengers stuff as well, which is also surprising. But I did try to buy most of it in order, so I think I have through Avengers 2, but that might be it. I have most of that stuff, but not all of them. So I don't know. We'll get there one day. But I think one for me is Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh, how many seasons was that?
Ooh, I don't even remember off the top of my head. Let's see.
If we're talking TV, I had started collecting Lost on DVD, and I got up to season 4 or 5, and by that point I was like, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna buy them individually anymore. I'm gonna buy the big whole series box set when that's released. And
4 seasons.
That came out when how many?
Battlestar Galactica had 4 seasons.
Okay, that's a respectable number.
Yeah.
I've never gone back and bought that whole series Lost box set. I don't own any Lost, and I should.
Yeah, you absolutely should, since we're both Lost fans. I kind of inherited my Lost DVDs.
Uh-huh.
I have seasons 1 through 6.
Good.
I have them because my dad was buying them. And I think he had pre-ordered the season 6 DVD before it ended, or the complete season. And he hated the ending. He thought this was the worst special thing. So he was just like, "You can have them. You can have them all." I was like,
I'm done.
Yeah. Sam is in the chat and is rating with a party of 6. So hi, Sam, and thank you.
Oh boy,
welcome, party people.
Now, is the 6 people or is the 7 people? When you raid with a party, does the party include yourself?
I'm assuming not, because it says raiding with a party of 6. So
not as a part of a party of 6.
Sam, you're not a part of the party. It's like
Sam
a party and stuff like that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson.
Yes.
Melissa, how has your week been?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's progress. It's moving forward in time. Speaking of home media collections, I did go to a local store last week to hit the Labor Day sale.
Okay.
And I walked out of there with all of the Kelvin timeline Star Trek movies, which I've been wanting to own. Those are all the Chris Pine ones. That's what they call that timeline.
I had no idea.
And then, because the first 2 were directed by J.J. Abrams, and he puts the name Kelvin into everything he does because it was his grandfather's name.
Oh.
You remember the guy who showed Desmond around the hatch when he first got there? That guy's name was Kelvin. There's a Kelvin Ridge on Jakku in The Force Awakens, stuff like that.
Interesting.
So he named a ship in his Star Trek movie Kelvin. And so because that's a separate it is very sci-fi sounding. And because this is a separate continuity from other forms of Star Trek, it got named the Kelvin timeline. So I got a box set of all those, all 3, and then I bought all the Sean Connery Bonds.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that a recent purchase? Because I see you have on the list here that you saw 3 whole Bonds. In Melissa's cinema corner, aka the cinema is her couch.
Thank you for remembering that full title.
The full title is the best.
So I guess the cinema is my TV and my couch and my entire living room and my rock lamp all together.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought those on Sunday and I've watched 3 James Bond movies already this week.
Okay.
Which might be too many to watch at once.
I mean, hey, a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken, so I think you can retwist that old scripture to be like a cord of 3 bonds is not easily broken. There you go.
Right, like nobody can contest me.
There you go.
They should contest me. There's a lot. Watching these movies, I realize there's a lot of stuff I had wrong that I thought was in one movie that wasn't there.
Speaking of that, I think I made the same mistake. I think we're thinking the same thing. For years, I just assumed that the whole, like, do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die, was in Dr. No. But it's not.
It's in Goldfinger.
Right, it's in Goldfinger, and I should have known that because I
should have too.
Goldfinger as well. Like, I was like, oh, I knew that. Like, I've seen this whole thing. He's on this like giant slab of gold as this laser is inching up his legs, and he's just like, can we get off of this thing? So yeah, like because we were watching Dr. No on the review show this week, and as soon as the movie was done, I was like, they didn't do the line. Did I miss it somehow? Did I like look at my phone or something? And then I was like, wait, it's not in this movie. I was like,
no.
Oh man, for years I've been saying that, like that it's in Dr. No, and it's not. So
yeah, and like I've listened to a lot of James Bond podcasts, which gives me a lot of information, but because it's all auditory, I can't see anything to really lock it into my head. I've had a lot of things mixed up. Like I was waiting for things to happen in Goldfinger, and then I remembered, no, that's the man with the golden gun, which is a Roger Moore, I think. Like not even the same Bond. Yeah. So this has been a learning experience for both of us.
Yeah. Indeed, I feel like this is the second time in my span as a podcaster that I have made myself just look like a complete fool, or I felt like an idiot for just like something that I said, and I realized after I'm just like, you idiot, Kyle, come on, you knew this one too. Yeah.
And I feel like all this iconic Bond stuff did get mapped onto Dr. No, because I have listened to, at this point, 3 different podcasts talk about Dr. No, and I was also under the impression, he's the guy who tells James Bond he expects him to die. That's not Goldfinger. I forgot what Goldfinger did. I think I also have Goldmember in the mix. I have to tell those two apart.
Yeah. Which I was talking to my girlfriend this week, and I was writing her off a list of James Bond movies, and she was like, this sounds an awful lot like Austin Powers. And I was like, well,
yes,
it's because Austin Powers is a spoof of the like whole 60s spy James Bond stuff. And she was like, oh, I get it now. I was like, there's Goldfinger, there's Goldmember, the spy who loved me, the spy who shagged me, like all of that. And she's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Oh, good stuff there.
Yeah. Well, how have you been this week?
I've been okay. Work was unexpectedly busy, and that is not fun. Like I'm at the point where, like, in quarantine now, and we're working from home, I'm so used to just like watching TV shows all day while I work, or more recently like playing video games while I work, that I'm now becoming upset when they send me work, and I'm just like, God damn it, fuck, I gotta do work. Like which I shouldn't be. I should be absolutely thankful that like I can just sit here, and if I don't have stuff to do, I can read a book or read some comics or watch some TV and stuff, and I still get paid. So, but yeah, this week has been
life.
A little bit busier than I expected, but I think it's been good besides that. So good stuff. Let's circle back around to Melissa's cinema corner, aka the cinema is her couch. Because we started to talk about the James Bond stuff. So what 3 James Bond ones did you watch this week?
The first 3, which is Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm surprised that I have not been bored yet. Maybe that will come with Thunderball. Thunderball is supposed to be notoriously like, God, they're still underwater, huh? How long have they been underwater?
I look back on Thunderball with a fondness, but yeah, it is a little bit different to the rest of them, and I do kind of remember it being slower. But yeah, that it's been a decade and some change since I've seen Thunderball, so who knows?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah. I'm finally putting real concrete actions in my knowing secondhand things about James Bond. Now I'm going to know them firsthand.
Yes.
Which is a tremendous character growth for my arc.
Yeah. So I mentioned we were watching Dr. No this week on the review show, which is one of our other podcasts. You guys can go find that on our website, thewhatnauts.com. But we started this thing a couple weeks ago, actually, here on the Captain's Log. We came up with the idea of Shame-Tember, and you were the one that pitched Dr. No, and I picked that one because, you're a big James Bond fan, and you hadn't seen that one yet. So it seems like you're correcting that and taking it a step farther to be like, I'm going to watch more of the Connery.
I want to watch all of them.
Yeah.
I only got all the Connerys because they were easy to get. I found 2 sets of 3 movies each, and they were pretty cheap with this Labor Day sale. The other ones, it was such a mess. I couldn't get anything that was it's all Roger. Here's the 2 Tims, 4 Pierces in one set.
I think you have to get the big box set that has everything, but then it's not the... It's the full movies, but you might not get all the special features, and it's stuff like that.
And they did have these box sets that were one random movie from each Bond. It's you can watch Dr. No and Live and Let Die and Die Another Day. And I'm that's not the combination of films anybody wants to see. You didn't even put Goldeneye in there. Then it would have been their first ones for all 3 of them. Yeah. You did 2 firsts and a last.
Strange.
Yeah.
That's good. What else did you watch? Did you watch anything else?
It's been mostly Bond this week. I'm saving some of this discussion for the review show. I watched Tron Legacy, which also I talked about on last week's review show. But Jack and I did watch There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
There was blood in it.
I can't remember if I've seen that one or not. It's been a staple in my household, I think, because my dad was a big Western movie. Is this a Western? It's not. It is, but it isn't, right?
It takes place in the early 1900s in California.
Okay.
So it's it runs kind of along some of the same visual stylings as a Western.
Yeah, that's
there is a train that pulls up outside a dusty small town. So, if that's what your dad likes, here it is.
That's what I was thinking. In my mind, I equate it to a Western film, but I also know, it's not. But that's the thing. I don't think I would have seen this when I was younger. So I'm guessing I haven't seen this one.
Yeah. This is also a movie with a very iconic line in it. I drink your milkshake, which I didn't know anything about the context of that scene. I never...
It's better than yours. Right?
That song plays over the end credits. Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Exactly. No, but that line... It happens in the last 5 minutes of the movie, and the place where it happens is in a personal bowling alley in Daniel Day-Lewis's mansion.
want a bowling alley in my house.
Right, and it's like 1927, so it's an old-time bowling alley, like before they even got cosmic, which means they're like only 30% as fun. Like all the fun of bowling is just like snacks and neon lights.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Like some greasy pizza, big old pitcher of beer or something, you know.
Big hot dog, fries in a weird shape.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of that in his house.
How
wish this would have been part of it. That Daniel Day-Lewis built a bowling alley in his house and then also built the snack bar.
Yeah. Sam says, don't forget the automatic pin setting too, right? Yeah, you have to have that.
He had some sort of a machine, it looked like. It didn't seem like he had a boy that ran down there to reset the pins. It might not have been automatic.
Boy.
He might have had to like turn a lever. He might have had a pin boy.
Pinhead. So how was that then?
It was good. It was not as much of a dark, dour bummer as I thought it might be.
Okay.
Like that was the impression I had of this film. It's actually like it takes place on these beautiful landscapes. It's wonderfully shot. It's really good to look at. He's enough of a fool that you don't feel bad when bad things happen to him.
I gotcha.
You ever see a movie where like I've never seen all of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because I tried to watch it when I was like 13. Like, this is a big important comedy. I should see it. And I'm like, this is too many bad things. Like, Steve Martin's kind of a jerk.
Where's your hand? Between
he is, in
two
fact,
pillows?
The jerk, but
those aren't pillows. Oh God. So how about those jets, huh?
Like, it was too many bad things. My empathy rating. I couldn't emotionally stand the film. I respected it, but could not watch the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm always wary of like tales of disaster like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching it and I'm like, oh, you've got enough of a spark in you that I don't not like watching you. But this is all folly and hubris that in the end you all deserve. It makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I do appreciate a tale of a man's professional folly.
Yeah.
If you tone it right.
Trying to think, because there has to be what else like follows that theme. There's one I feel like I should know, but like this movie. But
the movie I'm thinking of. So have we talked about how I don't like the wilderness?
Just in general, or are you referring to like a specific?
I don't like wilderness as a genre of film.
Okay.
Like, this is my least favorite type of film to watch. Anytime where it's somebody goes into the wilderness and
Jack
they have
London
to
the
survive.
movie.
Yeah, I can't stand stuff like that. But I watched The Lighthouse, which arguably is that. It's not wilderness as we typically imagine it in like a forest, but they're on this little rocky island, just them and lighthouse and rocks and like a bunch of seagulls. But that technically counts as wilderness. That's kind of a wilderness survival story. It's a psychological survival story more than a physical one. That's kind of what it is. But Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe are like such buffoons in that movie. The movie's like almost a comedy. And I love watching it.
I saw it was on Amazon now, so I was like,
you should get on
liked this one.
It's one of my favorite films of last year. It's so wonderfully weird and specific. I've never seen anything like this.
That's good. Yeah, I might have to add There Will Be Blood to my list of shame, because I feel like that's also just a good classic movie. Like I'm not necessarily partial to westerns or almost westerns or stuff like that, but I feel like this is up there in like cinema greats of just like There Will Be blood is
of like
damn
the
good
last
film.
decade, I think so. Like, it's got that iconic meme line. It's got like an amazing performance from Daniel Day-Lewis. One of the reasons I really wanted to watch it was to like get a sense of Paul Dano before the Batman next year.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because I haven't seen him since Little Miss Sunshine. I don't know how he has grown as an actor. He is wild to watch in this film. I can see how somebody would have looked at him and said, there he is. That's our next supervillain.
There you go. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, speaking of superheroes and super villains and stuff like that, we just got the news that Wonder Woman has been delayed yet again, this time to Christmas.
It would be nice for Christmas time.
Didn't read the actual thing, so I don't know if it's actually coming out like on Christmas Day or if it was just I think like it holiday said, like, time.
Ooh. I was going to say December 2nd, then I think no, like it was supposed to come out October 2nd. And then it was moved to sometime in December. But I also don't know what number of day, yes.
Wonder Woman delayed to... postponed until Christmas Day. The thing
Christmas
said.
Day?
So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like... I still don't want to go anywhere near a theater. There's not much else to say besides that. It sucks that we're just not getting to see that, but at the same time, I understand it, you know.
Right, and I haven't heard any bad stories coming out of anybody going to see Tenet yet. Hopefully I don't. Yeah. Did I, again today, see this news and then try to Google, is there anything else I can do to stop the pandemic? And I got no Google results. Yes, I did do that. I'm still out there, folks. I'm still trying my absolute hardest, short of quitting my job and becoming a phenomenon like that John Travolta movie Phenomenon, where he can speed read and he knows everything, so that I can learn to be a vaccine doctor. Short of that, I'm really trying to get people back into the movie theater with clear minds.
Yeah.
I'm trying everything I can think of. I might call a movie theater and see if they have more ideas for me.
Yeah, I think it was last week. I was like, man, I didn't even know that Tenet came out. You know what one we didn't mention in that was New Mutants.
Yes, yeah.
That's out too. And I was just like, I had no idea.
It has been out. Yeah.
It came out. That's wild.
I haven't heard anything about it yet, which is kind of nice that whenever I do get to see it, in whatever home video release it has, I will be surprised then.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Tenet either. Like, the couple people that are going out there to see these films are doing a good job of keeping, like, any knowledge about it locked down.
Right.
So thank you for your service to the rest of us.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's all that stuff. Also, speaking of superheroes and unfortunately things that we forgot, Melissa, we forgot to mention Chadwick Boseman last week.
Okay. So... I saw the news right after we had finished recording the episode from the week before, like literally
2 weeks ago.
Okay,
yeah.
bye everyone.
Like the night
2 weeks
it happened,
right.
We were recording the podcast. We ended the podcast, and that was the first thing we saw.
Right, like
so
I turned my
like,
phone back
shit.
on.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we had talked about it between the two of us as friends. We'd already done that.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring it up last week because I know if you were like, I have talked about it. I have said my piece. I don't have further things to say. And it is a painful thing to talk about. And I don't want to make anybody like bring it up if they're like, I ain't got the emotional energy for this right now. So
it just
it
fell
wasn't out
in
of disrespect. It was just out of like trying to
it fell in like that
protect an
weird
individual's
spot.
Emotional energy.
Yeah, it fell in that like weird spot where when we recorded that like last week, it felt like a week old news. Like, oh, we talked about that last week. And it was just like, no, we actually didn't. So here we are.
We spoke about it as people, but not as podcasters know.
Yeah. If for some reason you don't know, and you've been living under a rock, Chadwick Boseman passed away at 43 to cancer. And I, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe that was public knowledge that he had cancer. So it was a surprise to everyone.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But I saw today that apparently dictionary.com is officially is supposedly officially adding Wakanda to they're putting in an entry for that, though I just went to dictionary.com right before we started recording and it's still not up there. So
maybe they meant they emailed it to the guy who puts it on the server, and he'll do it when he comes in Monday morning.
It might be, yeah. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of a bittersweet thing. But it's I don't know, cause yeah, he had a damn good career.
Absolutely. And I have to confess, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any of his other roles besides Black Panther, because he was primarily a dramatic actor. And I have to say, I just don't tend to watch very many straight non-genre dramas. I know I was just talking about watching There Will Be Blood, but
that's really interesting because I actually have to say, in my mind, I picture you as more of a drama fan.
No. If there's not a superhero or a wizard or a spy or an alien in it, I typically don't watch a lot of dramas, which unfortunately means there's lots of great performances that I haven't seen.
I don't know where I must have gotten that from then, because I like had it in my mind that like, oh, Melissa likes good just like regular dramas.
Like some of them.
Weird.
I think I do talk about them more than you do.
I don't know. I guess that depends how you define like a crime show.
Right. You're all about crime.
Yeah.
You're very mystery based.
I do like some good detective fiction and stuff like that. So yeah. Interesting indeed. Well, sad thing that Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Sorry.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Melissa, monster trucks?
Right. I thought we would need we had some rougher news to talk about this week. I thought I would just put something fun and silly on the list. Kyle, what are your thoughts and experiences monster trucks?
Oh man, I have never been to a monster truck rally or anything like that. I'd love to go. I think it'd be really interesting to go see. Like I don't know what it is. Is this like wrestling? Are there storylines? What goes on in these things? Like I have no idea.
Yeah, what is the kayfabe of a monster truck rally?
Right? I don't know, man.
I was listening to an episode of My Brother and Me from last year where somebody was talking about monster trucks, and that made me think of this. And it made me remember something I haven't thought of in years. Growing up, there was a car dealership like a couple minutes from my house that had a Bigfoot the monster truck, not Bigfoot the furry entity. A Bigfoot the monster truck, like
could
in
have
its
been furry. Who knows?
Yeah, I didn't get up in the cab. Maybe it had like fur seat covers. I don't know. But yeah, it had a Bigfoot in its parking lot, and it also had. It's not the Bigfoot. I imagine that's like. It's like Santa Claus, you know, like there's Santa Claus and then Santa Claus's helpers.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's Bigfoot the monster truck. And then like, well, I'm not exactly the Bigfoot, but like I act on Bigfoot's behalf. And if you want something from Bigfoot for Christmas,
you gotta go through me.
I'll put in a good word for you. Just every December 24th, you're comes a big monster truck rolling down your street. It rolls up your roof, and then Santa Claus jumps down the chimney. I'm gonna Google Santa Claus monster truck right now. I can't believe I've never seen this.
Oh goodness.
But anyway, yeah, they had a Bigfoot, and they also had a van, like a pretty normal van, but it had tank treads on the bottom of it instead of tires.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think I would like to go just for the spectacle.
Yes.
Like, I would like to see things get destroyed and blown up and see a bunch of, like, pyrotechnics and stuff like that, and go get some cheap hot dogs and drink some...
Yeah.
I'm actually assuming they would be overpriced hot dogs, but still. Yeah. Be fun.
So I have not seen a monster truck. I have seen...
Just as elusive as Bigfoot himself.
Right. I haven't seen a monster truck rally. I haven't seen a monster truck move. I saw this stationary one once. The van with the tank treads, I don't know if that constitutes a monster truck. I don't know what the specifications are. Like, if you have to reach like a certain weight class to get to be a monster truck, maybe that was just like a critter truck. A creature truck.
Yeah, creature truck.
I have seen not Battlebots.
Sam says a chimera van.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
I like that.
Chimera van.
I have seen competitive robotics.
Mm-hmm.
There's an organization called FIRST. I believe it's an acronym. Don't know what it stands for. But they go into high schools and they help students build these little robots, and they compete in these competitions where the robots are all supposed to...
really serious trucks. Is that spelled first? Yes, first.
There was none of that there. Like, the robots all compete to, like, stack boxes or push a ball into a goal. Very, very basic tasks, because it's just like 16-year-olds just like learning to program robots for the first time. They had competitions of that at one of our local, at the St. Charles Family Arena. I don't know if I can describe it better than just telling you the name of it. It's an arena for families.
I have to interrupt with one more thing. Sam is a genius. It's a vank. A van tank.
Sam, thank you.
It's a vank. All right, so back to the arena for families.
Yes.
And in this corner, we have the Johnsons. And in this corner, we have...
I would go to this place for teen robotics competitions, flea markets, and one time I saw Weird Al in concert.
Sure, see Weird Al.
The best concert I've ever seen.
Okay. That's fair.
Absolutely. If you get the chance to see Weird Al, do it.
To be honest, you probably should at this point. He's been around forever.
He's very healthy, though. He's a vegan.
Okay.
Have you seen him? Like, he's aged so well. His hair is so lush. He's very healthy.
Like, I've not seen him.
I'm knocking on wood
recently,
right here.
But I've seen him recently-ish.
Recently.
You know.
Yeah.
Who knows how much weight he's gained since quarantine, but you never know.
He's like, I'm going to remake the video for fat, but I'm not going to need a suit this time. So these robot competitions were free, and we would go see them all the time. And Jams even joined his robotics team in high school one year.
Cool.
Yeah, so I've seen that. It's not Battlebots, but you get really wrapped into it.
I was going to say,
it's
remember
thrilling.
when Battlebots was like the thing on Spike TV and stuff like that? Like, an all new this week on Battlebots.
Yeah, my dad likes Battlebots. BattleBots is something I think most of the whole family can gather around for. I don't know about a mom, but like any type of dad, granddad, or like a kid of any age.
Sure.
Can all get in on the BattleBot.
But I feel like BattleBots is a thing that like our generation knows, but I'm wondering if anyone younger than us really knows what that is. Like, does the fact that Big Hero 6 basically have a BattleBots ring at the start, do they even know like kind of what they're kind of referencing with that?
I think so, especially because like robots are becoming nothing if not more popular and more prevalent in schools and extracurricular activities. They may not be battling, but kids know activities like First, where you build a robot that like stacks boxes. And then they also know like Pokemon, and they put those together and like, okay, battling robots. Got it.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Ask a young cousin, report back. I'll also ask a young cousin next time I see one.
Oh man, I'm the youngest of all of my cousins. I'm the baby.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, do you have any like second cousins, like cousins that have kids already?
I barely keep in touch with any of my family. I don't even want to know if I have second cousins or what second cousins are, because I don't think anyone knows exactly what a second cousin is.
Okay. This is how I've always understood it, and I may be wrong, but the knowledge works for me and my life. So, a cousin. We know what a cousin is. This is your parents' siblings' kid.
Yeah.
If they have a kid, that's a second cousin.
Okay.
This is how I, work it through my head. If they have a kid, that's a third cousin. So I just had a third cousin born a couple weeks ago.
Gotcha.
His name's Ivan. Welcome to the world, Cousin Ivan.
There you go. It's a good, strong name.
Yeah. And Mom's like showing me these baby pictures. And I'm thinking about like, because my mom's side of the family, huge. She's the 9th kid out of 14.
Oh, man.
So I have so many cousins. This is why I had to come up with some sort of mental way to process who all of them were.
It's like
this baby.
It's the Animaniacs song when they're singing all of the countries. There's something Santa.
Well, there's United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, exactly. Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Guinea, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, then Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica. I used to know all of this.
Didn't we watch?
Don't anymore.
Did we watch something recently where they were singing that song? Or did I watch that on my own?
You probably did. I don't remember this being a plot point in like Lucifer.
It was some guy like in a crime lab
Here
somewhere.
I come to Earth. Time to learn about your Earth customs.
Right.
There's a song that will teach me all of your nations. Play it for me, please.
There must have been some crime show or something that I watched where, they went to like a scientist or like a teacher who was like doing something for them on the low, and that's what he would do in his spare time. He would just put on headphones and sing that song to like help him focus on something. I don't know. Whatever.
In high school, my senior year of high school, I took this like computer graphics class, but it wasn't an art elective. I think it was like under communication sciences or something. Sure. So it was more about like computer literacy than about actual art principles. The teacher was a really cool, chill guy. And the day before spring break, he played the song for us. And he's like, if you can memorize the entire Animaniacs Nations of the World song and recite it for me when you come back, you get the entire week free. You don't have to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I did it. It was great.
How are your memorization skills these days? Because I remember when I was younger, like memorizing songs like super fast. Like that's just something that I could do. And nowadays I can't. I mean, I can kind of, but like with those songs, like I could then recite them without this like song playing behind me. Whereas like nowadays, I would need to like back up like the audio cues to be like, oh yeah, this this line, and then that one. But like, yeah, memory is not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, I can remember facts pretty well generally, but tasks are worse. I'm always forgetting to do something. And normally it's something petty, like I told myself, I don't know, like I want to organize the pantry this weekend, and then it's like Wednesday, and I'm like, I never organized the pantry. So it's low stakes stuff. Like I've never, I don't know, forgotten my wallet on top of a car, except for that one time when I was like 21.
The worst.
This is
the worst when you.
I gotta say, Kyle, this
is food too, because you're sitting there.
What?
It's the worst when you leave like food on top of your car, and then do it because you're like, man, I was about to enjoy that, and then you're just like, oh, completely ruined it.
When I was 12, we took a road trip to Denver to visit one of my many uncles. And like I was wearing these sandals, and like I'm getting restless in the back of the car, and I like took my sandals off. And then we stopped at a rest stop, and my mom like got a bunch of snacks, or she was like taking stuff out of the cooler and then repacking the cooler. I don't know. But she's like rearranging stuff in the car, and she takes out my sandals, like puts them on the roof of the car for a second, and then forgets to put them back. And like I didn't realize I didn't have my shoes with me. I don't know why. But we're driving down the highway, and there's this woman like in a van next to us. Like she's constantly like next to us. And we look over and we notice she's got my shoes and she's waving them at us.
Hey, good for her.
Right. Thank you to the sweet woman from Kansas who like chased us down so that I could have my like dad sandals.
Wow, yeah. That's amazing.
I was wearing adult man sandals as a 12-year-old girl.
We found your husband's sandals. Actually, those are my daughters.
Well, okay. So I have wide feet.
Uh-huh.
Like this is like a Wilkinson thing. We all have like Fred Flintstone feet.
Sure.
There's like big, wide, husky feet. So fighting shoes has always been like tricky, especially like ladies' shoes.
Yeah.
And like it's getting better all the time, which is, I live in a wonderful world where there's always like more plus size clothing for me, more extra wide width shoes. It's wonderful. But in like 2002, when me and my mom both don't really know how to online shop, like my options are limited. So I would typically just buy man sandals because they always fit.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. What you how to do. So that story reminded me of an adventure. Let me ask you this first, though. Have you ever been friends? I'm trying to figure out how to word that. Have you been friends with someone who is just like so free-spirited and kind of like hipster/hippie that they just don't care if something goes wrong or if something goes missing or stuff like that?
Yeah. Yes.
So I knew this guy who he was the oldest of three brothers, and then they had an adopted younger sister, and I was friends with all three of them, but I was kind of like in the middle age of them, and the older one, he was a singer. He had like a screamo hardcore band and stuff like that. They were all insanely talented musicians and stuff like that. They were incredible. And the like middle brother was the drummer in that band, but he was also the screamer in that band too. But I remember one of my best friends went with the two older brothers on like a missionary trip around the country. I knew them from my church at the time. I don't think they're in the church there anymore or not. I'm not sure, but they went on like a year-long missionary trip around the country, basically going from college to college, just like feeding the poor and just all sorts of stuff. And they finally, I think they started up in Philly, and then they went down the East Coast, across the South to some spots in the Midwest, and then like up to the Pacific Northwest, and then back to the Northeast there. When they came down to Roanoke, where Virginia Tech is, we went to go visit them, and we like hung out with them all day on campus. We were just walking around. We were getting into all sorts of trouble. And it's one of those days where it's kind of overcast, and I think later that day it ended up raining, but all of a sudden we're just walking around, and this guy, the oldest of the three brothers, just stops us all and goes, "Hey, I can't find my shoes."
Oh, God.
And then we look back and we're like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't know what happened to them. I just lost my shoes." And we look back, and sure enough, he has on no shoes. And we were like, when did you last have them? He was like, "I don't know, like an hour ago." And we're like, "Have you been walking around this whole for an hour without your shoes?" He's like, "Yeah."
Wow.
He just didn't say anything, and he went the rest of the day without his shoes. It was really funny.
God is his shoes now.
Right? Yeah. You were just like, "Oh, well."
You remember when I was telling you about those wild scavenger hunts some local boys all started planning?
Yeah.
One of these boys never wore shoes, hated to wear shoes. I think he kept a pair of basic flip-flops in his car that he would put on if he had to go into a business or an establishment. I vaguely remember him just putting cardboard boxes on his feet once.
What? Why? No.
I don't, because they weren't shoes, I guess. I don't know. I can't explain these.
Too contrarian for me.
He never cut his hair. He had a really long ponytail. Part of the scavenger hunt was to see if you could cut his ponytail off. He eventually cut his own ponytail off years later, and then everyone was disappointed because nobody was actively trying to cut it off anymore, but I think some of them were still holding out hope that they could do it themselves.
Weird.
He had a car with a sunroof in it, and I remember him showing up to one of these scavenger hunt kickoffs with this big stuffed Kermit the Frog doll, and it was specifically Kermit the Frog from Muppet Treasure Island. That's the costume this 3-foot tall stuffed doll is wearing. He drives up super fast. He drives up onto some guy's lawn with Kermit just sticking out of the sunroof.
Okay.
It's like, "Oh, Kevin's here. We can start the scavenger hunt."
That's funny.
I remembered what we were talking about 15 minutes ago before we started talking about the Animaniacs Nations of the World song. Cousins. Okay, so this new baby that was born is, I figured out that his relationship to my mom is that this is my mom's great-grandnephew.
Okay.
Which,
that makes more
when
sense.
When you hear that phrase, you imagine if you heard a kid say "Oh, I'm going to go see my great-grand-aunt," you're picturing basically a skeleton woman, aren't you? The oldest, frailest thing possible.
Yeah.
like the grandma from Knives Out, a movie you haven't seen yet.
I still haven't seen that one, yeah.
Like that grandma. But no, my mom's spry, energetic. It's always going on a motorcycle trip somewhere. It's just that when you have a family this big, the generations get compacted in on themselves.
Yeah.
See, it's my fun mom, yes, gotta go buy a book for my great-grand-nephew.
So Sam wants to know where the term once or twice removed comes in.
I think that's what you're actually supposed to say, and I learned it wrong.
It's like my cousin twice removed is your third cousin.
I think so. Paul, my cousin Paul, you don't know him. I've always called
That's okay, because I always reference a Paul on the show, and you barely know him.
I've always thought of Paul as my second cousin, but I think it is correct that he is my first cousin once removed, twice removed. I don't know. I can't have a type of cousin and then a way in which I need to remove them.
I feel like
I just need to number them numerically, 1, 2, 3.
See, I feel like saying your second cousin, twice removed it, that's not my first cousin once removed is not I feel like that's mixing both of the things, right?
Yeah.
You have your cousins, and then anyone outside of that is once removed, right? So if your cousins, I guess, have a kid, you had said that is, I guess, your second cousin, right? But I guess the term would be, that's my cousin once removed.
That's what I'm supposed to say, but I saw Paul all the time. He's not removed at all. We went to high school together. He was the one cousin that lived close enough to us that we went to the same high school. And lots of people were surprised that he was our cousin because he was from the other side of the family. We didn't have the same last name and we don't look alike.
That's funny.
So yeah, he's one of us.
Huh. Okay.
Not removed. He's right there.
Cousins. What are they?
I think about this a lot. I have so many cousins. I miss them. I haven't seen anybody outside of my extended family since December, which isn't that wild.
Yeah.
But in a normal year, at least once by now, it would have been oh, your cousin's having a barbecue. We're all going to Lisa's house. My cousin Lisa moved into a new house at the beginning of the year. And mid-March is when I would have gone to see it because it would have given her sufficient time to set it up. Mm-hmm. I don't know when I'm going to see the inside of Lisa's house. I'm so upset.
Oh, well. It's kind of funny, though, because we're mentioning cousins. My parents got a new dog this past week. Actually, I think I mentioned it last week. They hadn't picked it up yet. I think normally you're not supposed to get a new puppy until they're 8 weeks old. I think if you're buying it from a letter or a breeder, you're supposed to wait eight weeks. But my parents, I guess, bought one while they were in they weren't in town, or I guess that long story short, they bought a puppy from another town and was in that town or something else, and then was hey, can we get it a week early so we don't have to make another trip? So they did, and they started to send me pictures and stuff, but from they're focusing on the dog, but just from the smallest amount of backyard grass / the concrete on the porch, I knew it's oh, they're at my cousin's house. And it's just it's a weird thing for me to be able to recognize the concrete on my cousin's back porch. Just I recognize that.
No, I could do it too, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Melissa, we got some more bad news this week. I kind of wanted to space things out a little bit.
I appreciate it. We took a good monster truck break.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Venture Brothers has been canceled.
Okay. All right. So to fill in an audience member who hasn't listened to us talk about this for 3 solid episodes over on the review show, this is an Adult Swim cartoon. It is Adult Swim's longest running show. It may even be the Cartoon Network as a whole's longest continuing running show. Because like the pilot was put on TV
Network, you said?
Maybe like continuously running, not like when they had OG Powerpuff Girls and then second different Powerpuff Girls. I don't know. I didn't look up that number, but I suspect it may be true because the pilot of the show aired in 2003. The show officially started in 2004. And it's an animated show. It has a very... The whole show is like written by the same two guys, directed by the same guy. They do a lot of the voice acting. Like it's got kind of a smaller production team and it has a long production cycle. So between 2003 and 2018, they produced 7 seasons. 7 wonderful seasons. This is a serialized narrative show. It has actual character growth and arcs and places it's going. And in season 7, like they started ramping up that roller coaster hill. Like, oh, you're being more active with mysteries and mythology and giving us answers and giving us this progress and like finally paying off things that like you suggested in season 1.
Yeah. Man.
But I got the impression that it's Adult Swim once loves the show, wanted to keep the show, and it's from like people above that sub network. It's from like Warner Brothers or above Warner Brothers, AT&T or something. And they're like, Rick and Morty's good. Can we have other things like Rick and Morty?
Sure.
What's this weird thing that doesn't sell any merchandise? How long has it been hanging around here? What does it do?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can find an answer on the longest running show for Cartoon Network. I'm not finding anything on a quick Google search. However, the first thing that comes up when I search longest running show on Cartoon Network is the Wikipedia page for Ed, and Eddie.
Yes, that one did last like 9 years or something. How long was it?
11, with nearly an 11-year run is what it says.
Yeah, that is definitely the longest of at least the original cartoons. But even then, Venture Brothers would have that beat. That might be what it would be if the Venture Brothers wasn't counted in the whole Cartoon Network library. But so I've been super bummed about this, especially because it's a show that does have these long production cycles and will go quiet for a while. And then like 2 years later, it's like new seasons here.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking that would be on the horizon for like next year, maybe.
Yeah.
Season 8's going to come rolling in.
21 seemed like a good year for it to actually happen. Yeah, this is really sad because I just last week was like, man, you know what show I miss? I miss the Venture Brothers. We watched it all this year, and I can't wait for the new season. And man, it's gonna be so good. And then like the universe was just like, Kyle, fuck you.
Well, it seems like this decision was made several months ago, and they just didn't talk about it. I really have hope that it is not dead and gone.
I think it was Sam who's been in the chat with us that posted something in our Discord, I guess 2 weeks ago, I think, that there's someone had mentioned that Venture Bros got canceled, but no one had been reporting on that yet, and so I didn't really want to say anything or like take it as fact, because I was like, who is this dude that's saying that?
I'll tell you who this is. Okay, so the way this news broke is that some guy out on Twitter, I don't know who that guy was, started a thread that's like, let's talk about shows that were unfairly canceled too early. My pick is Pushing Daisies. Something else we've covered on the review show and is really great. And then one of the comments is from Ken Plume, who's a friend of the show. He's the guy that edited that giant art book I have back there.
Okay.
He's a friend of the show. Yeah,
because I was like, who is this guy? He just seems like some random checkmarked podcaster nerd dude. Like, who the fuck are you,
he's friends with the creators, and he interviewed them and like helped.
That makes sense.
Like,
okay.
Compile this giant art and making of book that I have, which is a feat. This thing is like the size and shape of a tombstone. If you're on the video feed, you can see this black and white book behind me.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. So much work. Thank you, Ken Plume, for your hard work. But yeah, he threw out the Venture Brothers in this thread.
Everyone
and some people like took it as a joke. Like the show will disappear for so long that people think it's canceled. People thought it was ironic, and other people were like, what do you mean it's been canceled? And eventually, like, Adult Swim and Jackson Public have to come out and say, it is canceled. But like Adult Swim was like, we love Doc and Jackson. We love the show. We want to find a way for this to continue.
Yeah.
And a report came out saying like HBO Max is in early stages to maybe take it on.
HBO Max would be honestly, a great place for that show.
Right. They have the Cartoon Network and Adult Swim libraries already.
They are severely lacking for original content. So a brand new season of like Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's best show is like, hell yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah. Sign me up.
And there have been other shows like Pushing Daisies or like a Firefly or an Arrested Development that got canceled too early in their run.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, the show has a lot of promise. It's just starting to get off the ground.
I'm wondering.
The show has had 7 seasons. It's so
and
close
it's only gotten
to
better.
Yeah. It has, yes.
So I'm wondering if part of it is COVID related of just like, hey, since we're all working from home, that has thrown things off. So yeah, we know that they usually take longer times to put this show out. Maybe that would have then delayed it into 2022 or something. And then I think Sam also mentioned about one of them being in recovery from a car accident or something. I don't know the details on that, but I'm wondering if it was that also mixed with this is one of their best, most longest running shows. I'm wondering if it's also one of the more expensive ones. And in the midst of COVID, they were just like, look, guys, we have to do something with this.
I'm not sure its expense rate compared to other Adult Swim shows because the animation, high quality, looks amazing. This is a show from one director, 2 writers, and those 2 guys do like half the voices.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like with it, if they're putting in that much work on the show, they're in a real good position to be like, give us a hell of a lot more money. And they absolutely deserve it.
They do. I did listen to one of the DVD commentaries, and I forget like what season and year this would have been from, but Doc Hammer is saying, I make slightly better than manager at the Gap money.
Great. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. Man,
I really hope HBO Max picks them up and that it is technically canceled from Adult Swim, but will move to an online platform, which I think would be wonderful for it because
I could even see them just doing a Kickstarter since they do the show mostly themselves, just being like, hey, let's somehow crowdfund season 8 or 9 is what we're on now, right?
They're so close. Like, if I don't know how much more they have planned. And a lot of these arcs, it's like more character-based things, and the mysteries are more related to characters' backgrounds as opposed to like more plot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like how much more time they would need to like wrap up what they want to wrap up, but it could be a season.
Yeah.
Like it could be as few as like 8 episodes or something. And to cancel a show that's like
a little more than that, but sure, yeah.
I would too. Like I did. Like can we go for like an even 10, 9? A nice 9. But
I was thinking more like 16. Like
always like a
give me
Simpsons
that much. Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing
20.
to take down a newer show that hasn't. Like, it's one thing to take down, like, a newer show that's, like, shows promise and is starting to find its footing. It's another thing to kill a 7-season-long show that it has been the longest-running thing on the network. It has been dangling things over us and finally making progress, and we're so close to that ending. I think that is going to be a big factor, because it's not like
It's not like, hey, we had 10 more seasons in us, please. Right. It's like, no, we had 1 or 2 more, and then we're done with the story.
You know? Right. And, like, it's one thing if you have a newer show to, like, it's still building itself. It's still finding its audience. Like, this is a show that has been running like a well-oiled machine for many years.
That also, though, might be the thing that hurts them, though, because it's not, like, for them to get investors to make that show, they, like, if I was an investor, I would want a newer show that does have, like, 10 more seasons in them, because that's a much greater potential for more profits. Whereas, but like, this is hey, we were just trying to finish our show. It's like, well, look, dude, 1 season is all you're gonna give me. No thanks.
No, but it's lower risk, though. If you've got a show that's been running successfully for so long, quietly but successfully, and has this huge audience, cult audience, huge in terms of love, if not in terms of numbers.
My Twitter feed lit up out of nowhere on that stuff, because like I know maybe 2 people that talk about this show, just like, guys, watch it, it's so good. And then when this happened, like, my whole Twitter feed was just like, no, this is the best show ever. Like, where were you guys?
And here's the thing about Venture Brothers is that it is a convoluted show. It's very serialized. It has so many characters. It's deep in jokes, and it's not the most friendly thing for a new viewer, but it's got enough style and charm to it. They think even people that don't watch the show, if they've seen it, they know, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. This seems like a lot for me to invest in to start watching it, but this looks good.
Yeah.
I think that's the level it's at with many people. Like, I think it is spoken of as a show that's
quality.
Good. Like, even if people haven't seen it, they're like, no, I know that's supposed to be a pretty legit thing. Like, that thing is cool. Why are you getting rid of this thing that's cool? It's so close. Just give us this ending. It's not a huge risk. We're already here. We're ready to go. So this is what I've done. This week, okay? Did I tweet a lovely message at Adult Swim? Yes. Did I do a lovely Instagram post at Adult Swim? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Did I sign a change.org petition? I did do that. And then when you sign those, the little window pops up saying, do you want to donate some money to help us promote this somewhere? And I don't totally understand how it goes, but I'm willing to try anything. So I gave it $21. I've been watching it every night on Hulu because the episodes are all still there from a deal that's older than HBO Max existing. Otherwise, it probably would go there. I don't know how long that contract is. How that plays into this
review show thing of that. Like, hey, we've been talking about this show. It's great. Come check it out.
Yeah, I'm watching it every night in Hulu. I'm trying to get those numbers up. I'm wearing my Quiz Boy and the Pink Pilgrim shirt today. I'm trying to pour as much positive energy into the universe as I can, Kyle.
You know how to do.
I'm not acting like it's canceled. Like capital C, big scary bold letters canceled. I'm just like, oh, it won't be on the Adult Swim channel anymore. It will be elsewhere.
I have a good feeling that someone else will pick it up, or HBO Max will do the last season, because that is absolutely the place for that show, for them to just go nuts.
Right, and like what I want out of it is, I would love to see these guys just have a couple extra minutes for an episode if they need it, instead of having to cut it to 22 for broadcast.
It's 28 or...
Right?
Yeah.
What freedom that is. I need them to have this. I really hope that, like, whatever executives are out there in charge of this thing, that they look at the entire global landscape, and they look at all our many losses, and then they look at the show that has been running for so long and is 7 seasons deep and is so close to finishing. They're like, we got to give the people a win. Like, we will be regarded as saviors. Whoever's in charge of HBO Max, I don't know who you are, friend. I'm going to lift you up over my shoulders if you renew the show. I'll start training now.
Use a Rocky montage. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to run up a lot of stairs. I'm going to start lifting smaller people up until I get to your size, whatever it may be.
Okay.
I don't know what it takes to win people over, Kyle. A ticker tape parade? Any brownies you want?
I've gone through this a couple times. I'm a big fan of Star Wars The Clone Wars. That got canceled when it got bought up by Disney, because that was also on Cartoon Network. And then Disney bought Lucasfilms, and Cartoon Network was out of luck. They couldn't finish the show. And then eventually that's when Netflix picked it up and was like, hey, if you guys want to finish the season you were on, like, we can do an honorary season with that. And I think they did it for one season, I think, and then Disney Plus picked it up for a season after that. So yeah, like, that show has gotten canceled multiple times, and then in the Disney Plus season of the show, they introduced new characters and have now announced a new spin-off of those new characters. So it can absolutely happen.
There are success stories out there. Or Community, Arrested Development, Lucifer.
Yeah, Community had some, Lucifer had some. Yeah, that's
and I gotta say, The Venture Brothers is a show about a man who can't let his sons die, so he keeps cloning them back to life. And another one of the major characters is a necromancer. This is a show built on the concept
things back to life.
Right, like there's something he said that Dr. Venture says in the From the Ladle to the Grave special, where like Helper, his robot, gets blown up and then he makes him into a walking eye.
Yeah.
He says, when a loved one dies, what do? Cry about it? No, you rebuild him. That's the Venture way.
Yeah. So that, and then I think the big one for me was Toonami in general.
Yes.
I grew up on Toonami. I loved it. Admittedly, I thought it went downhill eventually, and I stopped watching it. But I still loved the idea of Toonami.
Yeah.
And then it got canceled. It was canceled, I think, for like 9 years or something. Like, it was just no more. And just out of nostalgia, that's when I like happened to start working on my Toonami beat tape, and I had been working on it for like a year at that point. And then April 1st, one night, Adult Swim, with their goddamn cheekiness, airs Toonami, but it's reruns of all of the old shows that used to air on Toonami, but all the like animations and stuff were new, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!"
Fresh new Toms.
Yeah, this is like something is up with this. Like, bring back Toonami. This cannot be an April Fool's thing. And then everyone went nuts with the hashtags to bring back Toonami and stuff like that. And there I was like, hashtag bring back Toonami. I'm working on a Toonami beat tape. Please, here's one song. It's already done. Check it out, you know. And so yeah, and it eventually came back, and it's been going since, I don't know, it's been back on the air for like 5 or 6 years now. So yeah, good for them, you know.
Success stories happen every day, and I believe that my boys are a success story also.
Yeah.
I'm trying, like, there aren't many things in this world I can do, Kyle. I can't convince a bee to not sting someone. Like, I'm constantly thinking, like, what can I do? How can I help? What is my place in this world? How do I serve others? How do I make things better? I've had a lot of desperate, fruitless Google searches because I don't know how else to try and solve problems. But this one, I feel like if I really put my head and my heart to it, I could do it. I can save a TV show.
Be vocal. Yeah.
Right? Like, it is frustrating because this is the show that I have done the most things for. I own every box set. I own the art book. It was a gift, but I own it.
Right?
Jams bought it. Money was paid. I've got 2 t-shirts, 2 action figures. They're behind my computer. You can't see them. Like, I did 3 podcast episodes about the show. I would wear my Venture Brothers shirts to every Comic-Con I went to.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this show for the last 10 years.
It's become a new favorite of mine, so I really hope that they do.
Glad.
More.
Right. I'm out there. I'm out there trying. Doc and Jackson and team. Yeah, your girl Melissa's here for you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, sad news. So hope for the best that comes back as well. But I say we wrap things up there. I'll get into a little bit of housekeeping and then we can get out of here. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. I guess we've mentioned the review show at least a number of times on this one. But yeah, you guys can go check out our podcasts on our website, thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. Yeah, we covered all of the Venture Brothers on the review show in 3 parts. I think it was like season 1 and 2, and then like 3 through 5 and 5 through 7 or something.
It was like 3 and 4, and then it was 5, 6, 7 because those 3 are shorter seasons.
Yeah, so go check those out on the review show. And if you guys like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have all kinds of exclusive content at our $3 tier. So thank you all for supporting us, but we do want to give a big special shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, who has been in the chat here with us. So thank you so much for helping us out and supporting us for so long. But yeah, I think that's about it for housekeeping. So Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. I'm being a little bit more active out there. So, come say hi. Talk to me about Venture Brothers or other things. Yeah. Anything.
Indeed. You guys can find me at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with our show, we are at The Whatnauts on Twitter. If you want to join Sam in the chat here on the live streams of the Captain's Log, we live stream this each and every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, you guys should come hang out with us there. That being said, that's about it. Let's get out of here. Go like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're still pushing 100 on YouTube, so go subscribe to our YouTube channel. But we will see you guys next week. This has been episode 111 of the Captain's Log. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. Leave a comment down below if you guys have seen Venture Brothers and who your favorite character is. If you haven't, start watching it now and leave a comment down below that says, I will start watching Venture Brothers this week. Yeah, and in the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here. Go watch one of our other videos, which is right down here in this corner. That would help us out a ton. We got plenty more podcasts for you to check out. But until then, we will see you next time. Goodbye.